Hey guys, it's Jessica and welcome back. Today I'm using some elements from the Simon Says Stamp December card kit Christmas cheer, and let's get right into it. So what I'm doing is I'm tapping them onto my gloss media mat, spritzing those inks with water, and then I'm smushing my watercolor paper into them, and that'll transfer the ink from my glass media mat onto the watercolor paper. And since I am drying in between, you don't get that weird, it's not weird, it's not a weird color, but I don't want orange. So by mixing the festive berries and fossilized amber together, you do get a orange color. And I didn't want orange on a Christmas card. You could do it, but I didn't want it. So by layering the colors and heat setting in between, you kind of prevent the colors from blending together so much onto the Canson watercolor paper. Alright, so now I'm going to stamp the tree, and I did have to, well I didn't have to, but I ended up stamping this tree several times. I had opened up a new ink pad. It was an intense black one, and it really was really juicy. So the lines were kind of a little larger and wider than I wanted them to be. So I'm just went back to my Gina Amalgam ink, and I will play around with that intense black ink a little later to see if I can't get it to be a little less juicy. I mean, it's good to have a juicy ink pad, but that was a pretty bad. And then the other one that I had stamped had a cat hair on it, so cat hair gets everywhere sometimes. Not a big deal. I just can use those for coloring practice, or honestly, you could just recycle the paper. It's not a big deal. I'm going to be using some Copic markers, and I have my 3 greens out. I'm using YG67, G14, and YG03. So I have been trying to kind of condense my Copic colors, the amount of Copic markers that I will use on one project, because I will use almost every color I can for some reason. I love color and I love coloring, so I think that's where that comes from. So I'm really trying to limit to like 3 or 2 colors for smaller areas such as this tree here. So you can tell when I am thinking because I'll tap my finger. So I colored the star. I'm not really happy with it, so I'm going to do a little bit of embossing, but I colored the trunk with the E59. I'll have the list of the Copic markers that I used down below or on my blog. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut these out. I'm using my honeybee scissors again. These are great scissors. I've used them for years. These ones are getting kind of dull, so that's why I switched to the Fisker easy action ones. So those actually fell while I was putting stuff away, and they had fallen underneath the table, and this is just me being lazy and I didn't grab them. After I fuzzy cut, I go ahead and color the edges with a Memento black marker. And then I got out my Versamark pen. Now this is the same kind of ink as a Versamark ink pad. You've probably seen me use that quite a bit, and that's for heat embossing or doing the clear ink techniques. But this is a handy pen to have, and I can just color in the star, pour some embossing powder over it, and then wherever I had colored with that pen, the embossing powder sticks. So just like the ink pad, but I'm freehanding it. So I was just going to do the star, the center star there, but then I decided that I was also going to do the strings of lights on the tree. So I do those in stages because I think that the actual pen dries a little quicker. I don't think it lays down as much ink as the ink pad does when you stamp it. So I just do that in small sections. And then I'm going to take the words I had already stamped. I'm going to freehand cut those into rectangles. The one that says wishing you A, the UA is actually 1 centimeter, and I just cut off the A so it will continue on to the one that says A very merry. And then I'm going to grab my little Xeron machine here. This is a little X. I have to dust it off because I haven't used it in a bit, and I'm going to run those sentiments through that to make it really easy to stick them onto some Audrey Blue cardstock. This is a scrap piece that I have. So by using my tweezers, I can just lay those down onto that cardstock, and then going back to my scissors, I can cut those out so that each word has just a bit of that Audrey Blue all the way around them. So I cut down that distressed smushed ink background. that I had done with the Canson watercolor paper. I just cut that in half, and then I'm going to lay that one strip off-centered more to the left. And then I can adhere my tree to that, just right on top of it, and then I'm going to set down my sentiments using my tweezers again to try to get them straight. The reason why I left the circles colored in instead of trying to not color those in when I was coloring with the Copic markers, I'm going to add some Nuvo drops to those. So I have a scrap piece of that adhesive backing from that Xeron machine, and I'm testing each bottle to make sure that it's going to squeeze and not just kind of burst out of the bottle onto my little tree there. It's really, really, really cold in my craft room, so the Nuvo drops have kind of hardened a little bit. They were working okay. I got it to work. They still came out a little more pointy than I wanted to. I can usually get a pretty well-rounded tip, and even after smacking the card onto the lid, they still had some really good peaks. So I decided that the top left needed something. I wanted a bit more of that blue there. So I grabbed some of the snowflake images from the Christmas Cheer stamp set, which is the same one that came from the tree. But I grabbed those and some peacock feather distress ink and stamped those right onto the card. I think they look really cute there. So that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed this really quick, fun, and easy Christmas card. Maybe you forgot somebody or need an extra one real quick. I think this was pretty cute to do, and you could do it with so many different color combinations. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Meh, meh.